In this tutorial, we'll talk about the VLOOKUP function. So the VLOOKUP function will search for a lookup value in the first column of a lookup table and will return the matching value in another specified column. In order to use the VLOOKUP function, your data should be arranged vertically. That's why we have this letter V in the VLOOKUP function. Now, the VLOOKUP function will take 4 input arguments. The first input argument is the lookup value, which is the value to be looked up in the first column of the lookup table. The second input argument is the range that contains the lookup table. The third input argument is the column index number, which is the column number within the table from which the matching value will be returned. And the last input argument is optional. You can either enter one or you can omit the last argument. So the last argument can be either true or false. So a true value is similar to an omitted value, since Excel by default will take this value as a true value. So a true or omitted value, Excel will search for an approximate match for the lookup value. So if it did not find an exact match, it will return the closest value to the lookup value that is less than the lookup value. However, if you here specify a false value in the last argument, Excel will only search for an exact value. And if an exact value is not found, Excel will return the value NA, meaning not available or not applicable. So let's see how to use the VLOOKUP function in order to output a letter grade for these grades. So we will output the letter grade based on the following table. So a grade between 0 and 60 corresponds to an F letter grade, and of course with 60 excluded. So a grade between 60 and 65 corresponds to a D grade, and so on. So first, select cell C4, type in the equal sign, then the name of the function VLOOKUP, hit the tab key to auto-spell. The first argument is the lookup value in cell B4, then insert a comma. Then we need to specify the range of the table array, which is from cell E4 to cell F12. So we need to make sure that this range will not change when we use the autofill handle or when we copy and paste the formula into another cell. So we need to use what we call an absolute cell reference. So to use an absolute cell reference, put the cursor here anywhere between E and 4 and hit the F4 key on the keyboard. So this will insert a $sign next to E and a $sign next to 4, meaning that this cell address will not change. Do the same for cell F12. So put the cursor anywhere and hit the F4 key. Now insert a comma. The third argument is the column index number from which the matching value will be returned. So we want to return the letter grade, and the letter grade is located in column number 2 in the lookup table. So the lookup table has column number 1, which contains the range of grades, and column number 2, which contains the letter grades. So the return value should be from the letter grade, which is column number 2. So just type in 2 and close the parenthesis. I will omit the last argument since I want the VLOOKUP function to search for an approximate match, not an exact match. So hit Ctrl Enter and double click the autofill handle. So if you examine, for example, cell C5 and you look at the formula bar here, you can see that the first argument is using a relative cell reference. That's why it is changing from B4 to B5. However, the table array, since we are using an absolute cell reference, the range is not changing. Now, let's see how this function operates. So, a grade of 50, for example, if the function search in the first column, it will not find an exact match for 50. However, this grade is between 0 and 60. So an approximate match could be 0 or 60. However, the VLOOKUP function will search for the approximate match that is less than the lookup value. So in this case, 0 is only less than 50 and not 60. So that's why it will return this F grade.